Hello, my name is Kate and I work for Cheshire East Libraries. In this video, I'm going to try and give you a few tips and pointers to help you get started with your family history research. Perhaps you've never done any before and you're just not too sure where to start. Now, I'm sure you know there is plenty of information out there on family history on the internet, but it can be a bit tricky to find just what you're looking for. So the ultimate aim here is just for you to go online onto the Cheshire East Libraries website, log into your library account and start to use Ancestry. And if it's available, find my past. Now, if you don't know how to log on, then there's a separate video we have which tells you all about how to do this. And there's also another video which is going to give an example of how Ancestry can be used. So before you go online, I would strongly recommend that you take the time to do some homework. I would suggest a number of steps that can be summarised as follows. Step 1, note. Step 2, speak. Step 3, decide. So let's look at each of these in turn. Step 1, note down on paper or electronically what you know about your family at the moment. Start with yourself and work backwards in time. First you, then your parents, then their parents, and so on. I'd suggest you leave out siblings for the time being. They can always be added later. So for each person, firstly write their name, and bear in mind women should always have their maiden or birth surname entered. And I would suggest that you aim for the following pieces of information or events. Just put question marks against anything you don't know, or leave them blank if the event has not yet happened, for example, a marriage or death. So BMD, birth, marriage, death. For each piece of information, I would suggest that the minimum you should be recording is when, where, how. So if we take, for example, your mother's birth. When was she born? Where was she born? And how do you know that? This how could also be known as the source and can be something official like a birth certificate, or it might just be, I don't know, I've always known it, but my mother told me years ago, things like that. Doesn't matter if it's come from a family member, that's fine. Complete as much as possible of the 3 pieces of information for all of your direct ancestors. Now at this stage you would expect to have a large number of question marks and gaps in your tree. Step 2 is speak to your family. Usually the older members of the family are going to have the best knowledge, but it may be that a younger member has already done some family history research covering some of the same ancestors, for example a second cousin who might well have details of your great-grandparents and earlier. Now, if anyone has any certificates or other items relating to the family, I would be absolutely sure to take either a photo of it or at the very least to note down who has got what. You may well want to get back to them. Now, ideally there is a need to verify anything you are told by anybody. Another way of saying this is checking your sources, but at this stage the information can be noted down so long as the how is also shown. Right, now you may need to come back to speak to somebody, to the source, about this information in the future, and it's not always easy to remember exactly which cousin told you about which ancestor at that family wedding 4 years ago. And I would say if you're particularly dubious about what someone's told you, just put a few question marks afterwards to remind you to really check that out properly. Right, you should now have a family tree that is looking a little bit healthier, but probably still has quite a lot of question marks in it. Step 3, decide. So the last thing to do before you go online is to decide what you wish to research. Some people have got some very specific goals. It might be they want to know their great-grandmother's maiden name and birthplace, so that they can start researching that branch further back. Maybe they want to know their great-uncle's wartime record. Did great-uncle Edgar emigrate to Canada, or was he really in prison? Has our family always lived in Cheshire? Is there French blood in our family? Now, the problem with having just one specific goal is that, I have to be perfectly honest, no research is guaranteed to give results. And if you only have one goal, and especially when you're just starting out in family history, then it can be rather disheartening if you can't get anywhere with that goal. So I would suggest you choose maybe 3 or 4 different things that you would like to find out to give you really a better chance that at least one of them is going to be easy to find. You can always go back to any that you've initially failed with later on when you've got a bit more experience. So at this stage, I would suggest you write down your 3 or 4 research aims so that you can concentrate on these when you go online. So just to recap, think about performing the 3 steps before you go online. Note, speak, decide. Not forgetting about the when, where and how for each event, for each person that you've noted in your family tree. Right, once you have completed those 3 steps, all that is left is for you to go online, log into your Cheshire East Libraries account, select the Ancestry or Find My Past links if it's available, and start researching. So, as well as looking for any help you can online, don't forget your local Family History Society, many of whom run courses or sessions and are more than willing to help beginners. Thank you for watching this video. Good luck with any research, and goodbye.